Hello all. I would like to share with you my thoughts on state of women's movement and women in Turkey. I wish I could do this face to face. Thus, we would have the opportunity to have a lively discussion after my speech. But we can't do this for now. But I hope we can achieve this opportunity. I can achieve this opportunity in the future, in the near future. Okay, we live under the neoliberal, conservative, and authoritarian regime in Turkey, and we are trying to continue our lives for the last 20 years like that. As you well know, this is very difficult, especially for women, because the control of women's bodies is one of the fundamental elements of neoliberal conservatism. And this has implications in many different areas, from abortion to employment policy. However, I must add that our situation was not that much different 20 years ago, because Turkey is a predominantly Muslim or Islamized, and where Sunni Turks are predominant, and other ethnic groups are severely oppressed and discriminated. Of course, we cannot, or maybe we shouldn't, measure the discrimination against women by numbers, because discrimination against even one person is serious enough at the end. However, our country ranks around 130th among 149 countries, according to a World Economic Forum index, where discrimination against women is measured based on various criteria. And let's give a brief look to the numbers constituting these criteria. 2.6 million women in Turkey, which means almost 6.5% of women, either illiterate or do know reading and writing very little. And only 17% of women are university graduates. 17. And only 1 out of 3 women works in Turkey. But half. 1 out of every 3 working women is uninsured, and one works as an unpaid family worker. 1 out of every 3 work as an unpaid family worker. And in other words, only 1 out of every 9 women is insured and has a paid job. And women's representation in parliament is below 20%. 40% of deputies of the opposition People's Democratic Party, which currently has 58 deputies, brought the representation in parliament to this level, but it's still below 20%. And violence against women is the most serious problems that we face as women in Turkey. And I don't think that there is a healthy, quote unquote, study that I can refer you to on this subject. But according to a study conducted by the Ministry of Family, yes, you did not hear wrong, the Ministry of Family, 40% of women has experienced sexual or physical violence at least once in their life. But I say this number is much more than this. And finding women have undergone sexual or physical violence in Turkey is very difficult, for sure, that's for sure. And some days there are 4 femicides. And for example, in January, it is the latest data, in January 2021, 23 women were killed by men. And 14 women were found suspiciously dead. And as regards the right of abortion, Turkey until recently was a liberal country, surprisingly. And there was no legal obstacle for single women to have an abortion of their own decision. But only married women have to prove that they had made their decision together with their husbands, and that's bad enough, actually. But however, since 2012, single women were virtually banned from having abortions. As you all can guess, or as you all know, abortion is a sensitive issue for Muslims. But at the same time, it's not a cultural thing at all. It's also about the pressure created by the aging of the population, or aging of the Turkish population. The number of children per person has dropped to 2.1, which is around the average of European Union, as far as I know. And Turkey's economy is extremely fragile, and it's based on an insecure, uninsured, and cheaper than cheaper labor market. And in addition, some current debates continue. The AKP government is seriously considering about withdrawing Turkey from the Istanbul contract. And their arguments against the Istanbul contract is that it's the decay of family, it increases the divorce rates, it creates the proliferation of moral deprivation, and it spreads the homosexuality, blah, blah, as you can guess. And the women's movement have been carrying out a campaign titled "The Istanbul Convention Keeps Alive" for a long time, because now we have learned to be vigilant. The AKP succeeded in implementing an arrangement that was publicly debated and ordinary whenever we were complacent. For this reason, we are always on the alert, especially on this issue. We learned from history. And that's generally our agenda and situation. Now I want to talk a little bit about the women's movement in Turkey. Actually, to start with, there has been a serious women's movement here since the Ottoman period. In the early 20th century, where more than 20% of the population of Istanbul was Greek, by the way, women had many tens of weekly magazines. And in 19th century, there were women's strikes in some sectors. There were a considerable number of circles that defined themselves as feminist in the beginning of 20th century. As far as we can see, we can find out, let's say, from the archives, this process was interrupted by the Kemalist revolution, quote unquote. But the women's movement has been reborn in a powerful way since the 1970s. And then the feminist movement have been recreated since the 1980s. And in particular, we can say that the feminist movement was a movement, especially in 80s and 90s, where socialist feminists had been in the overwhelming majority until very recently. And in 1990s, we witnessed the emergence of the Kurdish freedom movement on the stage of history. And we can express that it's very powerful, grassroots, and a daily life transformative movement. And women in the feminist movement and the Kurdish freedom women from Kurdish freedom movement have been working in constant cooperation for a long time. However, we are going through a period in which women in this movement are partially pacified due to the persistent political pressures. I can say that the women's movement in Turkey is radical. It's also a movement that speaks, writes, draws, makes political discussions, and follows the world very, very well. Although there used to be a different organization and magazine circus until very recently, for the last few years, work has been carried out through thematic platforms and women's platforms in cities. We can give examples such as Beaver's Stop Femicide platform, it's Turkey-wide, and Women's Labor and Employment Initiative. It's a Turkey-wide, but it focuses on the labor issues of women. And some city platforms like Ankara Women's Platform, Izmir Women's Platform, Adana Women's Platform. There are, as far as I know, more than 20 city platforms of women, which include trade unions, political parties, and women's NGOs, blah, blah. And women's movement in Turkey since 1990s, in every field of struggle, more or less, was able to step back the governments and attacks from conservatives. And I think it owes this to its radicalism and massiveness. And the state of emergency regime and the prohibitions where we have been living in since July 15, 2015, are being broken by tens of thousands of women taking to the streets on the nights of 8th of March. Because we don't afraid, we don't obey, and we don't look down. And sisters, I greet you from Turkey, and long live international women's solidarity, and long live women's struggle. Thank you.